My husband sat across the dinner table, smiling, chewing, and pouring wine, completely unaware that the woman he was serving wasn't just a guest. She was the mother of the 16-year-old girl he had impregnated, infected with HIV, and left without a womb. And I was the clueless wife who invited her in with my own hands. Welcome to another gripping African folktale. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a story that will leave you speechless. My name is Grace Morgan, and I once believed I married the perfect man. I met Ryan Morgan in our second year at university. He was the kind of guy that walked into a room and made the air shift, brilliant, confident, effortlessly handsome. He studied petroleum engineering, and I was majoring in education. He was the first person to ever bring me breakfast in bed inside our rundown campus hostel. That was the day I fell completely. Ryan was everything I thought I needed: focused, God-fearing, and romantic. We were inseparable. From reading together in the library to cooking instant noodles on a single gas burner, we were already dreaming of a future even before final exams began. The day after convocation, Ryan got a call from one of the country's top oil firms. 2 weeks later, he was on a flight to his first offshore assignment. I still remember the joy on his face, how tightly he held my hands at the airport, promising, "Grace, I'll give you a life where you won't need to worry about anything. You'll never lift a finger." We got married right after NYSC. Simple ceremony. Classmates, parents, love in the air. Ryan said he didn't want me working. No stress. Just take care of our home and raise our kids in peace. I agreed. I trusted him. He was always away for 2 weeks, working offshore, then back home for another 2. He provided everything: a good house, a car. Our son, Ethan, came 2 years later, and Ryan was over the moon. He was a good father, a loving husband, but he had rules. I wasn't allowed to keep single friends. No going out after 6 p.m. No makeup that was too loud. No tight dresses. I thought it was love. I thought he was just protective. But maybe, just maybe, it was the first red flag I ignored. Then came his friend, Jason. Jason was divorced, reckless, and walked around like women were playthings. Whenever Ryan came back from the rig, Jason would come over, and they'd sit for hours drinking and laughing about wild parties and young girls in clubs. I hated Jason. He had this way of looking at me like he knew something I didn't. One day I overheard him say, "Bro, you're too soft. You're missing all the fun. Your wife's not even around when you're offshore. Do small enjoyment, Jer." Ryan laughed, waved it off. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. It started slowly, Ryan staying out late when he was supposed to be home. New perfumes on his shirts. Calls he took outside the house. Fights started. Cold silences. Then suddenly he was always tired. What I didn't know was that Jason had introduced him to a new life and to a new girl. Her name was Bella. She was just 16, fresh out of secondary school. One of those wild girls who sneaked into lounges with fake ID and heavy makeup. She met Ryan at a club, and he didn't even care to ask her age. She was young, naive, and easily impressed. Ryan gave her gifts, introduced her to smoking, to alcohol, and finally to sex. It wasn't love. It was addiction. He kept going back. 3 months later, Bella fainted in her room. Her mother, Diane, rushed her to the hospital. That was when it all came crashing down. Pregnant, HIV positive, womb severely damaged from a botched abortion. Diane was devastated. She had raised Bella alone since she was 10 and had given her everything: a driver, a phone, even extra lessons. She did her best, but her daughter had made one mistake with the wrong man. After 2 weeks in the hospital, Bella finally confessed everything. It was a married man, she said. "His name is Ryan Morgan." He's an engineer, works offshore. He told me I was different. Diane didn't scream. She didn't call him or go to the police. She simply wiped her tears, left the hospital quietly, and made a plan. She found out where we lived. She rented a small apartment not far from ours. Then one morning, while I was out jogging with Ethan, I saw her standing outside with a smile and a bottle of water. "Hi, I just moved in." "Diane Lewis," she said. She was warm, educated, neat, carried herself with elegance. She told me she was new to the neighborhood and wanted to make friends. That's how it began. She started visiting, sometimes bringing food, sometimes helping me with Ethan. We became close. I didn't have friends anyway. Ryan made sure of that. One Saturday evening, I invited her for dinner. Ryan had just returned from offshore. He was in high spirits, cracking jokes, playing with Ethan, opening wine, being the charming man I once fell for. Then came the dinner table conversation. "So, Diane," Ryan said, pouring her a glass, "what do you do for a living?" She smiled. "I raise girls. Or at least I thought I did, until one of them got destroyed by a man who should have known better." Ryan chuckled. "Oh, what happened?" "She got pregnant, caught HIV, lost her womb." He froze. I blinked. My fork paused in midair. She was only 16. It happened just a few months ago. The man was married. He worked in an oil company. Tall, confident, charming. Ryan dropped his wine glass. It shattered. And that's when Diane dropped the final bomb. She told me his name. "Ryan Morgan. That's you, isn't it?" The silence in the room was deadly. Even the clink of cutlery had disappeared. My eyes were frozen on the woman I had been calling my friend for weeks. The same woman now staring directly at my husband with fire burning behind her calm smile. "Ryan Morgan," she said again, this time slower, firmer, like she was reading a death sentence. "You gave my daughter HIV. You destroyed her future. And now I'm here, sitting in your house, watching you act like a saint." My mouth was dry. My hands were shaking. My chest was pounding. So hard, I thought I was going into cardiac arrest. Ryan didn't speak. His lips trembled. His eyes darted between mine, and Diane's like a cornered criminal. He looked at me, but couldn't hold my gaze. "Is this true?" I asked, rising from the chair, gripping the edge of the table. "Ryan, tell me this isn't true." He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Diane laughed, low, bitter. "You should ask him how he met her. At a lounge. She had just finished her O-levels exams. While you were at home washing his clothes and waiting for his calls, your husband was busy buying my daughter alcohol and teaching her how to smoke." My legs buckled. I grabbed the back of the chair and sat down slowly. My world was cracking in slow motion. She collapsed one afternoon. I rushed her to the hospital thinking it was typhoid. The doctor told me she was pregnant. I nearly collapsed. Then the HIV test came back positive. Ryan finally found his voice. "I didn't know. I didn't know she was that young." "You didn't know?" Diane snapped. "Of course you didn't know, because you never asked. She was a child. Ryan, a child." Tears burned the corners of my eyes. My throat felt like it was stuffed with stones. Ethan, our 4-year-old, came running into the dining room at that exact moment with a crayon in hand, smiling. "Mummy, look what I drew." I forced a smile. "Beautiful baby. Go to your room, okay?" He nodded and skipped away. I swallowed hard and looked back at Ryan. "Is this why you always came back from offshore acting distant? Is this why you stopped touching me like you used to? Ryan, did you sleep with that girl without protection?" He said nothing. That was my answer. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just stood up quietly and walked into our bedroom. I locked the door, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the floor for hours. I couldn't even cry. My body was numb. I waited till dawn before I walked to the clinic. I told them I wanted to run all the tests, everything. They asked if I had any symptoms. No, I replied, but I need to know. The results came back 3 days later. Positive. I stared at the paper like it was a nightmare written in ink. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My legs couldn't carry me. The nurse asked if I wanted to sit. I told her I wanted to die. I went home that night and sat in the living room waiting. Ryan walked in, dropped his bag like nothing was wrong, and went to hug me. I flinched. I know, I whispered. He stopped. I know everything. And now, I'm positive too. His knees gave out. He dropped to the floor, crying. He begged. He held my legs. He said it was Jason's influence. He said it was the worst mistake of his life. He said he still loved me. I didn't respond. I didn't shout. I just walked to the wardrobe and started folding clothes. Grace, please don't leave me. I turned to him slowly. I'm not leaving. You are. He blinked. What? You will get up and leave this house. You will find somewhere to stay until I decide what's next. He packed his things that night and left. The next morning, I told my son his daddy went to work. Diane called me 3 days later. Grace, she said, her voice more tired than usual. I need your help. My help? I asked. There was a long pause. I don't know what else to do. Bella's locked herself in the bathroom again. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. She's drowning, Grace, and I can't save her alone. That name, Bella, the girl who turned my home inside out. The girl who shared a bed with my husband while I was breastfeeding our son and waiting for Ryan's offshore messages. That name made my stomach twist. But Diane's voice, it carried something else, pain. She blames herself, Diane said softly. She's just a child. She was stupid. She thought he loved her. Now she's scared, infected, and empty, all before her 18th birthday. I sat quietly, unable to speak. She tried to overdose last night. I'm taking her to a private rehab center. My mouth dropped. She what? Sleeping pills. I found her early enough. But Grace, I need you to understand something. I came to your house not just for revenge. I came because I needed you to see him for who he really was. Not the polished husband in suit and tie, but the man who ruined my daughter. I was losing my mind knowing he was still walking around free, eating food in your dining room, while my daughter was in pieces. I sank into the couch. My fingers trembled. My eyes filled up. She wasn't lying, and I hated that I understood her pain. Where's the rehab center? She gave me the address. The next day, I went. I didn't go to shout. I didn't go to insult her. I just wanted to see the girl who shattered my life, and whose life my husband destroyed even worse. Bella looked nothing like the bright-faced teen I had imagined. She was pale, hollow eyes, scrawny frame. She wore a hoodie and avoided eye contact. When Diane introduced me, she flinched and stared at the floor. I'm sorry, she said in a voice so soft, I almost didn't hear it. She didn't say it once. She kept repeating it, over and over. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't know he had a family. I'm sorry. I stood there frozen. What do you say to the girl who helped destroy your marriage? The girl who now couldn't have children? The girl who thought she was in love with your husband while you were scrubbing baby bottles in the kitchen? I walked to her slowly and sat beside her. For a moment, we both just sat there, broken, silent, human. I'm not here to judge you, I said. I'm here to forgive you. She broke down instantly. Her body trembled as she sobbed like a child who had lost everything. And she had. That night, I walked out of the rehab center, with a different kind of pain. Not the sharp anger I'd carried for weeks, but a deeper ache, the kind that comes from realizing this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about destruction, generational destruction. And I had to stop it. I began therapy for myself, for Ethan, for my future. Ryan tried to come back. He sent long texts, flowers, gifts. He even sent his mother to beg. But nothing could erase what he did. And then the final blow came. I went to the hospital for a follow-up, routine blood work. That was when the doctor told me something I hadn't even considered. "Grace," she said gently, "you're pregnant." I blinked. "What?" "For weeks. It's early, but it's confirmed." I stared at the test result in disbelief. Pregnant? By Ryan? What kind of cruel twist was this? I walked out of that clinic and sat in my car for hours, staring at the dashboard, wondering what to do. Do I raise another child by the same man who nearly ended my life? Do I terminate it? Do I tell him? My phone buzzed. A message from Diane. "She's improving. She asked about you today. Thank you for not treating her like trash." I closed my eyes and whispered, "God, what do I do now?" Ryan had moved into a small apartment a few streets away. He called almost every day, sometimes to beg, sometimes to cry, sometimes just to say, "I miss my family." I never responded, but now I was here not for him, for closure. I stepped out of the car, rang the doorbell. He opened almost immediately. He looked thinner, like someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. His eyes widened when he saw me. "Grace," he breathed, "relax. I didn't come to fight. Can I come in?" He stepped aside. He followed me to the living room. I stood, straight back, clear voice, no shaking. "I'm pregnant." His face crumbled like wet paper. What? You heard me. I'm 4 weeks in. It's yours." He dropped onto the sofa, covered his face, shook his head. "God, Grace, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Stop saying sorry. It's expired now. The damage is done. This child wasn't planned. And no, I don't want you back. I'm here to let you know because you have a right to be aware of your child. But don't think this changes anything." He wiped his face. "I want to make it right." "There's no making it right here, Ryan. You gave me HIV. You cheated with a child. You lied to my face. You almost destroyed 3 lives and turned mine into ashes. There's no rewriting that." He stood up. "Grace, I'm not perfect." "No, you're not. You're reckless. You let a friend drag you into hell and dragged us all with you. And now you want forgiveness like it's a coupon, like I can just tick a box and erase the pain." He sank back down. I continued, "I'm raising Ethan. I'm going to raise this child too, but I'm doing it without you. You'll see them, yes. You'll co-parent, but from a distance. You're not my husband anymore." He opened his mouth to protest, but then closed it again. He knew it was over. I left without another word. The months rolled by. My stomach grew. My strength returned. I started a foundation with Diane. Yes, Bella's mother. We called it Second Chances. We started speaking to schools, holding outreach programs for young girls. Bella joined us after her recovery. At 17, she was already a survivor, a voice that made teenage girls cry and think twice. People asked how I could ever work with the mother of the girl who had been with my husband. I told them, because we were both victims of the same man. And survivors don't heal by hating each other. We heal by helping others. I gave birth to a baby girl, Ava, beautiful, healthy, fierce, even as a newborn. Ryan saw her once, held her gently, cried quietly. He still sends money. He still calls. But that chapter is sealed. From university love to betrayal, from heartbreak to healing. Grace's journey shows us that sometimes the people we trust the most can be the ones who tear us apart. But even in the ruins, life can still rise again. If this story moved you, if you felt the pain, the betrayal, and the strength it took to survive it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you have forgiven Ryan? Could you have worked with Diane like Grace did? Let's talk about it. And if you love stories like this, real, raw, and unforgettable, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gripping African folktales that touch the heart and shake the soul. This is Folktales by Cynthia, where every story carries a lesson. Thank you for watching.